Good evening and welcome to Realty Coffee Talk on Awaz Entertainment in Canada around the world. My name is Tahir Qureshi. I'm a fellow of the Real Estate Institute of Canada, real estate broker of record for City Pro Realty Inc. brokerage. Tonight's topic is unlocking home ownership. If you remember when we have a federal election 2 years ago, the federal government party that now runs our affairs at the federal level, Liberal Party of Canada, introduced a program which created three fundamental changes into ownership, real estate ownership. One was the unlocking the ownership. Other was the build more housing and also protect your rights. So we are hearing news now that they are planning to implement that, and they are unlocking home ownership, introducing a home buyer's bill of rights. That's one segment. It talks about curb non-productive foreign ownership. We're going to talk about what that is. And then we say stop excessive profiting in the financialization of housing, and strengthening federal oversight on the housing market, and reduce incentive for speculation and house flipping. So let's talk about the curb unproductive foreign buyers. When they are discouraging foreign home ownership, especially for residential, single home, whereas the purchasing houses on high-rise building, multiple housing may not be an issue. But we still have to see what direction they are going to go. And basically, at the moment, there are approximately 5% foreign investors across Canada, approximately. So majority of the housing that is sold to the foreign is significant, but not that much as compared to housing available across Canada. Our problem has been shortage. Now we have to look at, see how they're going to curb this, because if foreign buyers are bringing money, investing in Canada, which create revenue for the federal government, if they curb that, how are they going to cope up with this? Are they going to increase taxes if the foreign buyers stop buying the property? As you know, in Ontario, we have a speculation tax of 15% on foreign buyers. When they dispose of the property, they need to get a certificate from CRA, and that on the capital gain is about 25% of the capital gain they have to pay before the money is released by the lawyer, because lawyer knows that if the seller or the seller is a foreign non-resident, they have to hold the money from the transaction until a clearance certificate is issued by a Revenue Canada agency. So if you are stopping foreign buyers, are you not affecting the market, real estate market, and also the construction industry, and also the foreign exchange that is coming in? That's the question. We have to see how they're going to do that. And we also want to see our Canadian Real Estate Association and Ontario Real Estate Association lobbying group, how they will approach this. Have they consulted with real estate associations? Canadian Real Estate Association represent almost 150 plus thousand realtors across Canada. I'm also a member of Canadian Real Estate Association. So they have to consult with before they implement how effect it will have on the housing. Now the second step is stop excessive profiting in the financialization of housing. Lots of people buy. Let's say if we have a shortage of housing and people want to buy one house, and if we discourage investors to buy other properties, then we are trying to make more housing available. So if somebody's buying and flipping it, the government is saying they're going to put high taxes on it, so you can't flip it. If you buy it for long term, particularly single dwelling, whether it's a detached home or it's a townhome, semi, or whatever, single dwelling. Therefore, they will maybe putting some restriction. We still have to see. They are mentioned about REIT, Real Estate Investment Trust, because there is some exception to the rule, and they're saying it, that the tax treatment of a large corporation that owns a residential property as a REIT, who are increasingly trying to amass portfolios, large portfolio of Canadian rental housing, putting upward pressure on rents. So that's the other issue, is a corporation. They're not talking about individual, maybe you one or two buying 2-3 properties. But this is talking about corporation, they own rental units, because one side is you can buy a property, on the other side your rental is going up. So this is, they need to put policy and they want to put policies to curb any profitability, excessive profitability to this REIT program. And also it protects small investors. So we need to find out from the Canadian government what plan they have, how they're going to protect small owner or investors as compared to big corporation. So if they have done any committees or they have done any reviews, I request them to reach out to Canadian Real Estate Association, the Ontario Real Estate Association, or other association in Canada, and particularly Real Estate Institute of Canada. We have chapters across Canada, and we are leaders, mentor, educator in real estate. I'm more than happy to volunteer my time to give them some guidance and talk with them about what their plans are and how it's going to affect the market. And we also are represented by Canadian Real Estate Association. And since I practice in Ontario, we have Ontario Real Estate Association. So they can provide very good feedback. We have a talent, educated, mentor, leaders who can provide good feedback to the federal government. Similarly, all other provinces can do that. It's a good idea to talk with the real estate association so they can give them guidance. Now, the other thing is strengthening the federal oversight of the housing market. And this is very interesting, but we're going to talk about that. First of all, most of the housing ownership is local, is province-wise. You have a land transfer tax, that's Ontario tax. In Toronto, we have Ontario land transfer tax, we have municipal tax, and jurisdiction is on the province-wise. Federal may have some issues, we're going to talk about that. But how are they going to overset the right? How are they going to do that? They're going to establish Canadian Financial Crime Agency as Canada's first ever national law enforcement agency solely dedicated to investigating and combating all forms of major financial crime, including the presence of money laundering in the housing market. We also increase the power of federal regulators to respond appropriately to housing price fluctuation to ensure more stable Canadian housing markets. So that's a good thing. But we already have a faint track. Money laundering is all control, but if they want to create authority, it's going to be more administrative burden. But if they discuss with how it's going to impact, remember that real estate is a very important segment of the industry that is boosting our economy. Not only the buying and selling of real estate, there are lots of thousands real estate professional, builder, renovator, painter, plumber, electrician, lawyer, lenders, banks. Many people are involved in buying and selling real estate. So therefore, anytime you're making a decision that impact or create a panic or environment of uncomfort for people not knowing what to do, is create a panic And we don't want to disturb the market. Slowly you can do whatever you want to make sure it's more transparent and accountable. Now, this is where we always ask that our federal government, in their introduction of Home Buyers Bill of Rights, they are banning the blind bidding. Okay? Blind bidding is, remember that right now, current system is that seller can choose any price he or she wants to sell it. All the information or the bidding that is submitted to the real estate brokerage, if it's sold through the real estate brokerage, only number of offers are disclosed to the buyer's agent. Also, if there is any discount in the prices are disclosed, in the commission are disclosed. No content of price, conditions are disclosed whatsoever. So only thing you're doing a blind bidding. That means your real estate professional can help you calculate the approximate appraised value of that property, or you hire an appraiser to get an estimate of value before you put in an offer. Because there is a shortage of housing. You have seen that. We have more inventory now. It's improved. We still have a short listing, but competition is there. Now with a small adjustment in interest rate, as you know, if you have a line of credit, you can see that automatically, because the rate is variable, is already changed from 2.49 to now another 0.25%. Is already increased now. So you can see that. But if you have a fixed rate mortgage, you don't have to worry about it. As you know, I'm a principal broker of Canada Express Mortgaging, license 13241. So I can speak about real estate and I can speak about finance. Important for you to understand. Now, so if they make this open bidding war, that means they can disclose information. So we have to see how they're going to take away this right of the seller to use this. Remember recently, most of the realtors have underlisted the property, and then they sold $200,000-300,000 more than list price. I don't like that practice. It's not illegal, but it's not a good idea. Because as a professional, we should calculate the value to make sure it's reasonable estimated market value. And when you sell the property, you know you were very close, or you got a little bit more than what you listed for, or you know, reasonable range. But if you list 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 below the market, that's not a good idea. But now, what federal government is thinking about is that the buyer should give the permission to the seller or create regulation that blind bidding should be banned, and they disclose what the best offer in terms and condition, and somebody can match it or do a better. And this is what the blind bidding, they're trying to stop that. But it's going to take away the power of the seller to do whatever price they want to do it. So that's the issue that we're going to be discussing. We need to know how they're going to do that. The other one is establishing a legal right to a home inspection. Most cases, we do home inspection. And because of bidding war recently, there was no shortage of inspectors, people not willing to take risks. Now, as of 21st of March in Ontario, there is no mask. I came to the studio and everybody has no mask. So obviously for the show, I have to take it off. But that's a choice you have. We can ask them, but you can't force someone to take the mask out. Or you can ask them to wear the mask. This is the choice they make. So now, if you want to have a right, so that means now there will be more inspection anyway. It's a prudent thing to do to have a inspection of the property is encouraged by the regulator in Ontario, Real Estate Council of Ontario. They encourage that. Buyers, put a condition for inspection. Or if you think that you're going to lose this house, go ahead and do inspection, spend $300-400 and get that inspection done and be satisfied. You already know what you need to do in order to walk into the house and you can prepare your budget. The other thing is total transparency. They want to have a complete transparency. They have to decide sale prices. Because remember I mentioned about this, people list for $1 million, sold for 1.3. And having access to verify that. So if a property is sold for 1.3, why would I list it for 1 million or 699? So there will be some transparency where buyer has to check it out. And I tell you, this is so important right now, and I have mentioned in my previous episode, the buyer, don't think about the list price. Ask your real estate professional to create a CMA to calculate the estimated value based on the most recently sold data and do some adjustment for the improvement, what was sold and how it compares with the subject property. And with this evaluation, go with the evaluation, not go with the list price, because list price may not be exact and you may miss out the opportunity. But at the same time, you also have to make sure that you are prepared, the budget. You got the inspection done, you got the mortgage approved when you are going it. If you can get a inspection or mortgage condition for 1 day and you submit the offer and you know you're bidding it, and the same day get the inspection done and get the bank to confirm it for you, and there are lenders who can confirm it because they have an automated evaluation process. They can calculate the value when you submit the price because so many transactions has taken place and they have updated data, especially for the first-time home buyer as well. So government is also, so you don't want to have, and disclosure. Disclosure is an issue when an agent or listing agent or the broker does not disclose relationship with the seller or the buyer. And this is very, very important to disclose that, because it's better to disclose it and not to get in trouble at a later with the regulator. So now beneficiary ownership registry. They want to create a accessible beneficiary ownership registry. I'm sure the government is looking probably to generate some revenue, and this registry, you go in and you can log in and get some information. We still have to ask the federal government what this really means. We already have a geo warehouse, that registry. You can pay the price and you can ask your realtor to give you the report. When was bought, how many times we sold. Geo warehouse, you can find out how many property was sold, what was the appreciation for this property over a period of time, and also comparable sold in the area. Because when we're doing comparable, we have a geo warehouse, we have an AMPAC report for square footage, and then we look at the MLS system. Some of us are member of ITSO. I'm a member of Mississauga the board. We have ITSO. There are 22 boards. They have all listing together. So we have ITSO access. We also have a TREB, Toronto Regional Register Board access, so we can verify from both places how many times this property has been listed, what are the most recently sold, and then you get a report from AMPAC to calculate the value, a square footage separate, the building cost, land cost, and also above grade versus basement. And then you know what the approximate value is. So by separating these, you are able to calculate a real value of the property. And then you look at the condition of the property. Then you can also assess that to see how it compares to the other one and do adjustment. So help your client to get a real value before they put an offer, which is very realistic. Ignore what they're asking. It is what your real estate professional can prepare and estimate, because you want to achieve success. You want to get that property, and you're prepared. You have a budget. You have everything in line. You got the inspection done. You got a mortgage approval, and you're going full-fledged. Remember that when you firm the deal, there is no going back. You take responsibility for taking that home at that price that you negotiated, because there is consequences for failed deal if you don't close on time. And you will not only lose your deposit, whether you give the consent to take over the deposit or through litigation, you will establish a right for seller to go and sue you if you are a buyer. Vice versa. Transaction has to be completed, one is firm. Now, the government is also coming to rent-to-own program. That means they want to get lots of renter, they are renting it, and they want them to become the homeowner. And we have to yet to see rent-to-homeowner program. And they're going to commit $1 billion. So we like to know how much $1 billion will take across Canada to help and give grant, and how they're going to process that. This will be very interesting for all of us, how they're going to partnership. Most likely, they will be working with the municipalities to give them more incentive to encourage more building. And as you remember, in Ontario, we have a task force recommendation to our current Ontario government, which was to go high-rise, go vertical instead of horizontal, and also to have create high density. It is also good for transportation because you need to create a network for people to travel, goods and people. And also cut the red tape. And there's too much public interference in the process when there is official plan amendment or some construction is going, subdivision is coming. And unless it's absolutely necessary, they're cutting down the process. So this was the recommendation. And also encouraging government to share some costs, give some incentive to the municipalities so they expedite and do more housing. And the more housing you build in your city, the more support and subsidy you will get from the Ontario government. So federal government is also doing the same thing. And also government is also saying that if you charge less rent to the owner, there could be some subsidy available to the renter. And so people can build up for saving. Also, lender must commit ownership to a 5-year term. So when you are renting it, mostly terms of the rental are 1 year or 2 years. The government is saying if you want to use subsidy or some kind of support, which they are implementing, it's not yet been implemented. My goal is to have our member of parliament to attend us because it was short notice, so we couldn't get it, but we will definitely will have it on Awaz Entertainment in our coffee talk. So we talk about this program. So this is why it's very, very important. And also they want to have a really protection for home ownership to make sure transfer of ownership or title fraud or other things can happen. So this is why they're going to be doing it. Now, the biggest challenge is affording a down payment faster, affordable. So they are planning a tax-free first home hour saving account to help young Canadians afford a down payment faster. This has been a challenge there. And they want to combine RSP and TFSA. And so under 40 years old, you have the under 40 years old and save up to $40,000 toward buying for your first home. This was in the Liberal Party of Canada platform where I got this information from there. And they are encouraging that the Canadians set aside 100% of every dollar they earn up to $40,000. So they are allowing up to $40,000 tax-free to put in home ownership. So this hasn't been done yet, but we're hoping that this will be coming. And if the funds are not used, if you save money for up to $40,000, but you didn't buy the house, you can convert that money into RSP. So this is what the proposal was, and also, why 40,000? So 40,000 is about 5% of the price an average house in Canada, which is 736,000, and that is how they calculated up to $40,000 tax-free. Okay, we're hoping We're hoping that federal government will be more transparent and give us direction and make some announcement. And I'm hoping that they will do that. And definitely they need to check out with our Canadian Real Estate Association, because they are our voice. And we also talk to our member of parliament to make sure they can share with us what's happening. Now, like RSP, TFSA, first home saving account, investing in TFSA, this all money can be compounded together. You can have a TFSA, you can RSP, or you can have this first home saving account, all three together, not to exceed $40,000, maximum $40,000. Okay, so will it help your tax? Of course. If you don't, $40,000, you're not paying taxes, you're saving that money, buying your house. What happens is when you buy the house, it generates land transfer tax, it creates employment opportunity for everyone that we talk about it. That's why it will help the buyer to have a faster down payment. And this is why it's very interesting to see how the federal government will implement something without interfering with the jurisdiction of Ontario government, for example, or British Columbia or other provinces, which they control as a federal institution. Competition Act, for example, those are the things. And also criminality in terms of money laundering, other things, those are federal jurisdiction. They need to work with the Ontario government, for example, for Ontario, and municipalities to implement these new changes they're planning to do under unlocking the home ownership. We're going to continue our conversation after break. You're watching Realty Coffee Talk on Awaz Entertainment. If you wish to advertise on Awaz Entertainment, please call 647-484-0018. Also, Ms. Jabeen, we have arranged a very special advertisement for you. The 30-second video of your company is advertised 10 times a day, 30 times the whole month for 30 days. So this is only available to viewers of Realty Coffee Talk on Awaz Entertainment. So please call 647-484-0018 or visit awazent.com. And for advertising contact, I repeat again, 416-786-9809. We'll come back after the short break. Good evening and welcome to Realty Coffee Talk on Awaz Entertainment. My name is Tahir Qureshi. I'm a fellow of Real Estate Institute of Canada, broker of record for City Pro Realty Inc. brokerage. We're talking about unlocking home ownership, the federal initiative to help facilitate some improvement in the federally in our housing market. There are a couple of things when we're talking about unlocking home ownership. One of the segment of that that they mention about that mortgage deferral. The government of Canada is planning to implement and encourage up to 6 months of deferral payment of mortgage due to loss of job or major life event. So they are encouraging that. And as you know, during our pandemic, we did took advantage of that, and those payments that were supposed to be due, they were added to our program toward end of our term. Now, if they legislate that, it will become a mandatory. That means the banker, the lender will not be able to throw you out of the house because you have unusual circumstances, you lost a job, there's no source of income, and you need to provide evidence to that. So this is a good thing if the government of Canada will come back. I will say that the bank will be willing to do that. I am sure there will be some cost issue because if they're not making money for 6 months, they're going to defer that. So you still have to pay something or you don't have to pay nothing. It all depends how they formulate this regulation and if it's enacted by the current government. So we'll see that. The other thing is the mortgage agent or lenders to act in the best interest of the lawyer, so of the borrowers, particularly the first-time home buyers. So this is very, very important because it affects them. Now, under this program, they also have a save on closing cost of buying a home. So the first-time home buyer, they're going to create a first-time home buyer tax credit from $5,000 to $10,000. They're going to increase it. So this is a good thing, but it's not implemented yet, and which will put additional $1,500 in your pocket to make a home purchase. So when you are getting a $10,000, you will be able to save $15,000 taxes, and that's what they're saying you can add to your pocket. Now, most important thing that you probably know, the CMHC has a equity sharing program, and if you buy a new construction, they give you up to 10%. If you buy from the sale market, resale market, they give you 5%. So you have to look, and that give you a saving. Now, this is also for the first-time buyer who are high risk. They go to Canadian Mortgage Housing Corporation for insurance premium they have to pay to get the mortgage. So now they are saying is they will give you approximately $30,000 up to that premium cost. If you are paying about $30,000 premium cost, they're going to give you 25% discount or $6,500. This was projected or shown in the platform of Liberal Party. So they're saying to you, if you are paying a significant amount of premium to secure a mortgage because you are in a high-risk area, so you have a insurance, mortgage insurance premium, you're paying a premium. So they give you 25% discount up to $6,100. So that money you can use for the mortgage when you need is the most. That means there's a saving for you, okay? This is why it's very, very important that you continue to focus on making these special arrangement. Now, there is another thing is first-time home buyer incentive program. I think that I mentioned before, CMHC, you have to visit cmhc.ca and give you a program, what incentive they have for the first-time home buyer. And that is where you will see there is an income between wife and husband. It was $121,000. Now it's been increased a little bit. So it depends what you're buying. You ask your realtor, she can visit CMH site to give you more information, or call me. I'll get you the details about it. It depends what you are buying and how much you're buying. What is your premium you will be paying based on current assessment protocol. So this is why it's very important. Now, the third section, after protecting your right, you have unlocking home ownership. The third one is building more homes. So what's happening on building homes? So the federal government has planned to give cities tools to spend housing, to speed up the construction of housing. So remember I mentioned that even the Ontario government has created a task force, they gave the recommendation. So the federal government is going to say, I'm going to give money too to the cities if they increase and speed up the housing process. One is centralizing, digitizing the process application system so they can optimize it. If it takes few months, it could be done in a few weeks. So they go there. Remember that we have a shortage of housing, and construction of a subdivision sometimes takes maybe 3 years. But if you are building a high-rise big building, it may take 5 years. So that means you're not expecting this rapid benefit coming to you or more inventories coming in the marketplace, but definitely you have this span period to 3 years to 5 years period where the new system will be implemented. If it's agreed by all three levels of government, then it creates an environment optimizing the capacity of process to get approval. So issue building permit, generate more revenue for the cities, provincial government and federal government, wherever is applicable. And then you can see more houses coming in the market, and it will balance supply and balance. It will automatically balance it. We have a challenge because we have more than 400,000 immigrants are coming this year in Canada. We don't know how many will be settled, but majority of them Vancouver or Toronto or GTA area. So it does have a issue. We already have a 45 to 60,000 housing shortage unit across Canada. So we have multiple challenges. We have to cater them all because we need more immigrants to support our living style, because they will come and they work and they generate income and pay taxes, and that help the seniors retiring in our age. This is very important for all of us to know that. Now, the important thing is now is that now, build and repair more affordable housing. So if you have build more, that's what they're saying is, you don't need to build luxurious buildings. They want you to build affordable housing. And this is why you have seen the growth in Toronto, west or east, out of the city area, big cities. There's more growth now because there are lots of projects happening. And as long as there is an infrastructure for transportation, logistics, fast trains and everything available, believe me, this is going to be more opportunity for us to buy economically reasonable housing. So the government will provide resources, subsidize, and say affordable housing. Some owners may convert their properties to rental. That's possible. They buy the investor will buy it and they convert to rental. So all depends. The government will provide incentive. So you have to look at the federal government program the moment they announce it. No. This was one of the topics that the federal government has said that we have an empty office, let's convert them to housing. Obviously, it will be low-cost housing and create more facilities. We hope that we get the idea how you're going to convert an office unless it's a high-rise building, and then it's easily convertible with a minimum cost on it. Because if it's owned by the federal government, is owned by the cities, individuals like you and me, taxpayers. So we want to make sure that it's wisely done, to conversion is done. It doesn't cost too much money to convert that. And by the time they do conversion, our market will come up with a new policy, this approval process, and start building houses. You have to look at the financial side to make sure it's economically possible and it's a good decision. And also they're saying is a new generation, they want families to live together. So that means their focus is high density. So look at them, and then obviously indigenous housing and homelessness is a big problem they want to help. So we're going to talk about that different generational, what they talk about it. So they're saying is that multi-generational home renovation tax credit, they're going to introduce that. And this is something that, and they will say credit up to, family will be able to claim 15% tax credit up to $50,000 in a renovation and construction cost. This will provide up to $7,500 in support and help make communities more livable with bringing families closer together. So there is a nice incentive program. I hope that federal government will introduce that. Now, indigenous housing, we're going to see what their plans are. They're saying we'll work with indigenous partners to co-develop an urban, rural, and northern indigenous housing strategy. This is the federal government program, and we're hoping that this something will be coming, and they will be making some commitment on that side. Now, this is also, and chronic homelessness. This is a big problem because we want to make sure every Canadian live in a dignified way, because they are down because of circumstances surrounding them, Nobody want to be homeless because of their own will. Circumstances, loss of job, family separation, problems, other things that addiction, many other criminal activities that they somehow got involved with it and got into trouble, and then they become homeless, and it becomes a burden on the society. Therefore, we as a Canadian have the responsibility to look after, to make sure all Canadians look after. So there is a federal government is launching over 1,200 projects toward our commitment to end chronic homelessness and reach out commitment of reducing chronic homelessness by 50% on 2027. So this is what they're saying, and that as outlined in the budget 2021, they will be moving forward with this $567 million investment to grow their effort. And in addition to $2.2 billion previously committed to the support community across Canada, they have provided some subsidized housing in Peel region and other areas, I believe over $600-700 million. So to improve the current housing, because they're getting older, and try to build more. And these are all efforts toward federally funded program that our current Liberal government has introduced. So we are waiting to get more clear, and only I offer my services to the federal government if they need any guidance. I am a fellow of Real Estate Institute of Canada. Our institute, Real Estate Institute of Canada, has a talented professional FRIs across Canada. They can provide guidance and input, because we are mentor, educator, and industry leader. We are part of individually organized real estate. Therefore, Canadian Real Estate Association is the right one in terms of marketing strategy, buying and selling real estate. Or province-wise Ontario, because I practice in Ontario. So if you have any viewers' questions, please feel free to call me 416-451-3489. Reach out to your member of parliament in your jurisdiction to make sure they answer your question, because this is their platform. And if you need to advertise, please call 416-786-9809 and ask for Ms. Jabeen. She's the managing director of Awaz Entertainment. She will give you a very special package for advertising on Awaz Entertainment, because you are a follower and viewer of Realty Coffee Talk on Awaz Entertainment. To watch all my episodes, please visit realtycoffeetalk.com and subscribe my YouTube channel, and also subscribe Awaz Entertainment on Facebook, Amazon, and LinkedIn, also Facebook, and Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next Thursday at 7 p.m. May God bless you all. May God bless Canada. Thank you. Bye for now.